I guess I still need to work on my smiley. Alright, this is Pt2 at Pt2prepper.com, and we're going to talk a little bit more about flooding. A couple of weeks ago we had a blog on flooding, and now I decided to put a video out on there because there's a lot of hurricanes and storms going on right now, and a lot of areas are starting to get flooded out. Texas, we're praying for you. You know there's a storm coming. Alright, so starting off with on the water hazards for flooding. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are nasty little critters, and they have little viruses that they can spread with their bites. So keep yourself buttoned up, long sleeves, keep yourself covered up, and watch out for those mosquitoes. Snakes. I don't like snakes, and I don't know how I would react if I'm trying to tread and get out of the water and there's a snake coming toward me trying to get out of the water also. But avoid those snakes there. Alligators are the same. Depending on what area you live in, you might run across a little alligator or a big alligator. Other floating bugs and other animals that are trying to escape and evade those flood waters just like you are. They're probably trying to get to high ground just like you're trying to get to high ground. So watch out for those. Underwater hazards. There are a lot of underwater hazards you need to be aware of. Remember that neighbor, that friend, or that relative that comes over your house and they always leave that oil stain or that antifreeze stain in your driveway? Well, now that the floodings are happening, it's not just going in your driveway, it's floating up and down the neighborhood with everything else all up there. The neighbor who painted his house, and he got his brush and the thinner, and he put it in his shed, and now the flood waters are pushing the shed down the river, down the neighborhood, along with the trash can and stuff. Hey, that's other stuff that are inside that flood water that you're walking around in. So let's try to stay out of that water. Electrical hazards. We don't know if there is any power lines down or what have you, so stay away, try to avoid that. Sewage. Sewage will go through the path of least resistance, and that's going to be pretty much right where you are. And then there's other objects underwater that you might want to be conscious of. A lot of people go out in flip-flops because they don't want to get their nice shoes all destroyed because they don't want it all wet from the flood water. So they'll carry their shoes in their hand and step on a piece of broken glass or something like that, and that can give you a nasty infection because of the nasty water. Some of that nastiness that's in the water, you can get infectious diseases, viruses, and bacteria. Things like E. coli, TB, encephalitis, West Nile virus, Hep A, cryptosporidiosis, typhoid, and cholera. Those are some big words, and usually those big words have bad things that are attached to them. That's why they're big words. So let's try to avoid those things. So you say, okay, I can't drink this water. What do? I gotta run to the store and buy all the bottled water that are on the shelves. And by the time you get there, everyone else had that same idea. So now there's no bottled water. It's like, okay, I can live without the bottled water. I don't drink that much water anyway. You turn around and all the beer is gone. Now you're starting to freak out a little bit. It's like, oh, I'm gonna thirst to death. I have nothing to do. What am I gonna do? Well, start off. You have containers at your house a lot of times. Those plastic bottles that you have set off the side there, fill those up with water. Also, Ziploc bags. What I did was I got some Ziploc bags and I froze them. Put water in them and froze them, put them in the refrigerator, put them in the freezer. In the refrigerator, now you got water for when you need it. In the freezer, it's going to actually help keep your freezer cool longer if you lose power. And then I got some Gatorade, and I froze it at an angle. So when all I do is pop the top over here, and I can suck on it like a popsicle and have a little bit of a cool, refreshing Gatorade instead of just drinking the plain water. But if you're thinking ahead, I offered this on our last contest and I got no winners, so I'm going to put it back up there. First one to comment on this video will win this. This is by Aquapod kit, and what it is you put it in your bathtub and fill it up with water. It holds 65 gallons. Now, CDC and the first Red Cross say a gallon of water per person per day is recommended. For 65 gallons, that's a lot of days of water that you can have, depending on how many people you have in your family or what you're using it for. If you had the neighbors come over and you started washing laundry, stuff like that, obviously it's not going to last that long. But 65 gallons is a lot of water that you can use. So be the first one to comment and you can get this here EcoPod. That's all I have right now. This is Pt2 at Pt2prepper.com. Be safe out there, and you want to talk a little more about it, look me up, hit me up, and we'll talk about it. Thank you. Behind me here, I have my first book, Rise of the Sons of Darkness. It is a science fiction book that talks about three characters who overcome tragedy and adversity to win the day. But those tragedy and adversities they have are physical, mental, or social disabilities. As you notice with my blogs, my podcast, and my videos, I talk about prepping with disabilities. This book talks about science fiction characters with disabilities. As my vampire, he has a physical disability. My werewolf has Stockholm syndrome, and my other character has PTSD. And they all learn to overcome their disabilities and use those as an advantage to help them overcome their tragedies and adversities that's happening in their life. That's Rise of the Sons of Darkness, The Truth About the Dark, and by Rob Battle. And I'd like to see you guys talk about this too. Have a good day.